Hello from ones, I hope you are well. In this video, I'm going to go through the memo of exercise 11 on page 48 in your textbook. It says that D Carefully is the owner of Safety Driving School. He provides his customers with driving lessons and prepares them for their learner's license test. Then there are 3 product options that customers can take. They will have to pay 65 Rand per lesson if they use their own vehicles for 1 hour, 95 Rand for a 1 hour lesson if they use the driving school's transport, and 100 Rand for 1 hour of helping them to prepare for their learner's written test. Then it says here that he mostly issues handwritten receipts, but occasionally uses his till. So we will work with duplicate receipts and duplicate till slips. And then they say these are the cash receipts for the month of July 2006, which is a mistake. It must be June 2006. Please just fix that. Okay, then you would have noticed that they gave you some transactions for all of the cash receipts from the 1st of June till the 4th of June. And then after that, from the 5th of June onwards, they gave you the actual source documents. So there are 3 receipts here, and then there are 4 duplicate till slips here. You will notice that the till slips doesn't have a customer's name on it. This is not a mistake. It is correct. Remember, the details for a duplicate till slip will be services rendered. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to go and give your CRJ a heading. This is the CRJ of Safety Driving School. It's for June 2006. Please remember I asked you to fix that. And because June is the 6th month of the year, it's CRJ number 6. Okay, let's go and look at the first transaction. The first transaction is we issued receipt number 24 to G Guy for 65 Rand. So very easy. You will say it's receipt number 24 on the 1st, issued to G Guy, 65 Rand. And we don't bank the transaction yet because it's not the only transaction for the day. So we just keep the money in our till. Remember, I refer to the analysis of receipts column as the till column. And we put the money in current income. Then the next transaction that also took place on the 1st was cash receipts as per cash register roll. So this is just another way to say that we have a duplicate till slip for the day 795 Rand. And you will notice that there's no customer name because there are no customer names written on till slips. So if you want to enter this in the CRJ, remember you have to write CRR. Please don't make a tick mark, right? CRR is an abbreviation for cash register roll. You don't write the 1st again, it's still the same day. You write services rendered because customers would have paid us for services rendered. The value is 795 Rand, and now you can cash up your till because this is the last transaction for the day. So you draw that thick line indicating that you are done for the day and you can bank your money. Okay, so you will bank the total, which will be 65 plus 795 is a total of 860 Rand. Okay, so we can bank that total here. Sorry, let me just get there, 860 Rand. Please don't forget to indicate what the 795 Rand was received for. It was received for current income. Remember, the value in current income must be the same as the value in the analysis of receipts column. Don't write 860 there. Then if you look at the second, we also have 2 transactions. So once again, analysis of receipts and bank will be tricky. It says issued receipts to B Bloom for 2 hours driving lesson. He used his own car. Okay, so now you have to go and calculate it. That's a 2 hours driving lesson using his own car, so it will be 65 Rand per hour, but there's 2 hours, so you say 65 multiplied by 2 is 130 Rand. Okay. They didn't give you a receipt number, but you know that the previous receipt we issued was receipt number 24, therefore this receipt must be receipt number 25. It's on the 2nd, B Bloom, 130 Rand because it's 65 Rand per hour multiplied by 2. Please don't bank the value yet because there's still another transaction for the day, but you have to indicate that we received current income for the service rendered. Then Also on the 2nd, services rendered as per cash register roll for the day, 900 Rand. Okay, so if it's cash register roll, you write CRR. Don't have to write the 2nd again because it's still on the same day. You don't know the customer's name, but you know it was for services rendered, so that's what you write. 900 Rand. So now you have to go and cash up your till because the transaction or the day has now finished. So you say the total amount of money on your till will be 130 plus 900 equals 1030. And that's the value that you will put into bank. Remember to draw that thick line when you are cashing up your till. And then you have to say that you have received 900 Rand for services rendered that goes to current income. Remember, these two values must be the same. Then if you look at the 3rd, there was only one transaction on the 3rd. It said the owner increased his capital contribution by 7,500. Who is our owner? Remember, D carefully is our owner. Okay, so we will always issue a receipt for the owner. We won't give the owner a till slip. So you had to assume that a receipt was issued here. In a test, we will make it more clear. Okay, so the next receipt number in line will be receipt number 26. It's on the 3rd. It's issued to our owner, but we know the owner's name is D carefully. It was for 7,500 Rand. And because it's the only transaction for the day, you can actually draw that thick line and you can cash up your till and deposit the 7,500 into your bank account. It's not for a service that we've rendered. Okay, we earned this money as a capital contribution from the owner. So therefore it goes to sundry accounts because capital doesn't have its own column, and you write 7,500 for capital. Then if you look at the 4th, we issued a receipt to R. Rose for a garage he rents to her for 75 Rand per month. And then they tell you in brackets it's rent income. So this transaction might be a little bit vague, but what happens is D carefully rents the garage to R. Rose, and now she paid him the 75 Rand rent per month. Okay, so when we record this, it's a receipt. So we would have issued receipt number 27. It's on the 4th. R. Rose paid us. She paid us 75 Rand, and it's the only transaction for the day, so you can draw that nice thick line and you can cash your till up and deposit the 75 Rand to bank. But now what we received the money for was for rent income. So the money must go to the rent income account. It's not current income, but there's no rent income column. So where does it go? It goes to this sundry account section, because remember, this sundry account section is there for all of the amounts that do not have columns. So don't think it's just for capital, because we've only worked with capital so far. Therefore, you will say we received 75 Rand, but now the details is not capital, it's actually rent income, because that's the account that we will put the 75 Rand in. Then if you go back to your page 48, you will see that we are done with the written transactions. Now we are working with the receipts and the till slips. Okay, so the first receipt, let me just do this. Then we've got a receipt on the 5th and a cash register roll or a duplicate till slip on the 5th. Okay, so the receipt was receipt number 28, received from R. Royce, 130 Rand for 2 driving license lessons, and we have a till slip for 320 Rand. So in your CRJ, it would look like this. First, let's look at the receipt. It's receipt number 28 on the 5th. We received the money from R. Royce, 130 Rand, but because there's another transaction for the day, we can't bank that value yet. Hold on. Okay, and we received it for driving license lessons. So it's a service that we render, and therefore it goes to current income. Then we can look at the till slip. Remember, the document for a till slip is CRR. It's still on the 5th, so we don't write the date again. We don't know what the customer's name is, but we know we received the money for services that we've rendered. The total value was 320 Rand. Now, this is the last transaction on the 5th, so we can actually cash our till up, and we can put the total value of the money in our till into our bank account. So you must add these two together. You would say 130 plus 320 equals 450 Rand, and therefore you deposit 450 Rand into the bank account, but you only record the 320 in current income. Remember, the current income value must be the same as the analysis of receipts value. Okay, then let's go back to the textbook. There's a receipt on the 7th and the next till slip is on the 8th. So we first have to record the one on the 7th because it must be in chronological order. Okay, so we received it from B Blighnout. We don't know what the value is, but it's 2 driving lessons using the company vehicle, and it's receipt number 29. So let's go and look for 1 lesson using the company's vehicle is 95 Rand. Therefore, 95 times 2 is we would have actually received 190 Rand from B Blighnout. Okay, so it was receipt number 29 on the 7th from B Blighnout, 190 Rand. It's the only transaction for the day, so you can draw your line, you can cash up your till, put the money in bank, and it's for a service that we've rendered, so it affects current income. Then the transaction on the 8th, this till slip on the 8th is worth 85 Rand. So you would say, remember the document for a till slip is CRR. It's on the 8th. We don't know the customer's name, so we write services rendered, 85 Rand. It's the only transaction for the day. Draw that nice thick line, bank the value, and it was for services rendered. The next one, we've got a till slip on the 11th, but we've got a receipt on the 9th, so we have to record this one first. From C. Carmen, we don't know how much she paid us, but it's 2 hours to prepare for her learners. Okay, and we know that it's 100 Rand per lesson to prepare for a learner's written test. Therefore, 100 times 2, very easy, is 200 Rand. And we can record this transaction. It would have been receipt number 30. On the 9th, we received the money from C. Carmen. She paid us for 2 learners' lessons, which equals a total of 200 Rand. It's the only transaction for the day, so you can draw that thick line, cash up your till, and preparing for a learner's test is still seen as a service, so it goes to the current income column. Then we only have these last 2 till slips left, one on the 11th for 650 Rand. So we go and we say a till slip is CRR. On the 11th, you write services rendered 650. It's the only transaction for the day, so draw your line, put the money in bank, and put it in current income because we rendered a service. And then lastly, on the 15th, we've got this till slip worth 310 Rand. So you would say the document is CRR. On the 15th, services rendered 310 Rand. There is actually a line there, you just can't see it because this block is black. So you draw your line, you cash up your till, put it in bank, put it in current income. And then right at the end, you need to remember to total your columns. Okay, so the total of the bank column, if you add all of these values together, is 11,350 Rand. Total of the money that we have received for services we have rendered is 3,775 Rand. And the total of other amounts we have received, sundry amounts, or sundry stands for other, or for random amounts that we have received, is 7,575. Okay, so therefore if you add these two together, you know that you have received 3,775 Rand for the services you have rendered and 7,575 Rand from other sources, which equals a total of 11,350 Rand received from customers for the month. Okay, that's it.